What's up everybody, welcome to Rex Engine. In this video I wanted to show you guys how to use the new ground pound ability, which it's been in Rex Engine for a few updates now, but I haven't really done a video showing you guys the different features of it. And so I wanted to do that here. So for those who don't know, the ground pound, or the butt stomp, as it's more fun to say, is an ability that's taken from games like New Super Mario Bros. Or Yoshi's Island, where in the middle of a jump, you pause the jump and then you slam down with your butt and you destroy anything in your path. And I should apologize, my computer is running super slow right now. And I promise it's not normally this choppy, but I think the recording software doesn't help. So it looks like we're at a really low frame rate. But it gets the point across. So the ground pound ability, I'm going to open up the player in the hierarchy, and I'm just going to click on their controller. So right now it's already got a ground pound, but if your character doesn't have that and you want to add that, click on their controller, find their Rex controller component in the inspector, and there's the option at the bottom to add Rex state. If you click on that, ground pound is toward the middle of the list right here. And clicking on that will add the ground pound ability to your player. So if we scroll down to where the ground pound state component is, it's right here, we can see it's got a bunch of different options. It's got an animation clip. This is the animation clip that loops during the descent of the ground pound. And we can see it's also got a couple of animation clips that you can slot in here in the animations fields. There's the begin animation. This will play when the ground pound first starts. So if you watch, he's going to do this little spin thing. So that's the begin animation, and that does not loop. It just plays one time at the start of the ground pound. And there's an animation called the hit ground animation, which, you guessed it, plays when you hit the ground. And if you don't slot in animation clips for these, that's totally fine. It just won't play any separate animations, and it'll go straight into the looping body animation at the top here. There's an audio clip, which will play, if you slot that, it'll play when the ground pound first starts. And then going on to some of the more unique things of ground pound. So the first one is can move horizontally. And this is just a checkbox. So by default, I think in a lot of these types of games, like Mario or Yoshi's Island, you can't move horizontally once you've started the ground pound, so you're locked in. So that's it, you're just going to fall straight down. In the case of Rex Engine, I wanted to put that in there just in case, so you can do cool stuff like this. And you've got this degree of control over where you land. I really like these like kind of acrobatic looking ground pounds where you've got that arc. Hover frames down here is how many frames you're going to hang in the air after you initiate the ground pound before you start to fall. So we could set it to 0 and we'll see the player is just going to drop immediately. Or we could set that to a really high number like 120 and we should hang in the air for a couple of seconds. I kind of like these. Fall speed, if we want a really fast or really slow ground pound. I think 24 is about middle of the road, like that's roughly what you'd see in Mario. But let's make it really slow, just to see what that looks like. I really like, I've got to commend my animator on this one. I love this like look of fear on his face while he's falling right now. Or if we want to do a really quick ground pound. And then stun frames on land is how many frames your player can't move after they've hit the ground. So by default it's 12. If I make it 0, there's going to be virtually no stun time at all. So you can move immediately. And if I make that something like 120, then we're going to have 2 full seconds. God, these animations are amazing. So moving on, we've got some toggles here for whether you can cancel the ground pound with a jump, or with a dash, or with a ladder. So in the case of canceling with a jump, we're not going to notice this unless we've got multiple jumps enabled. So I'm going to scroll up to the jump state really quick. There we go. And I'm going to give the player, let's give them 2 jumps, so we can double jump now. And so ordinarily, if I start a ground pound, even though I can normally double jump, we can't jump out of the ground pound. You're locked in. If we turn on can cancel with jump, now we can cancel out of it. So our second jump there is stopping the ground pound. And it's going to be the same thing for canceling with a dash or canceling with a ladder. I think I've got air dashing enabled. Yeah, there we go. So right now I can't dash out of a ground pound. But if I turn this on, we can do all sorts of fun stuff. And ditto for the ladder. Ordinarily, with this turned off, if I'm pounding, I can't start climbing the ladder until I've hit the ground. But if we turn this on, we can grab a ladder out of the ground pound state. Shake screen on impacts. For all the people out there, and I know there's weird people out there that don't like screen shake. I love screen shake. I think the more screen shake, the better. But if it's not your cup of tea, you can turn that off. And the last one, this was actually just added in the last update. This was requested by a few people. Is invincible during ground pound. So I'm going to make an enemy here. I'm just going to make a new enemy from template. Let me turn the game off really quick. Okay. So this is a generic enemy. I think he's going to have 3 hit points by default. But let me check in his hit points. Yeah, so he's got 3. So we can set the amount of damage that a ground pound will do. I think it should do 1 ordinarily. But if we look on the player's controller and look in their ground pound state, yeah, here we go. Damage dealt. There's an option here in ground pound state to set how much damage it does. So this enemy has 3 hit points, and the ground pound does 1 damage. And so the way games like Mario or Yoshi's Island usually handle that is like in Yoshi's Island, if you don't kill something with your ground pound, that enemy will hurt you because you're on top of its hitbox. And so we're going to see by default the same behavior as here. So we hurt the enemy and it hurts us back. However, if we turn on the is invincible during ground pound option, this is going to make us so we don't take damage from that hit. And we won't take damage from this enemy again until we fully leave its hitbox and then go back on top of it. Or another option is if you do kill something outright, then you won't take damage because its collider is disabled the minute it dies. The frame it dies, rather. So if we just make this a higher number of damage, and if you're killing things with the first hit, then you won't take damage irregardless. And so I think that is basically it for the ground pounds. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time.